Welcome to Give Me Hope with your host and author, Johanna Vendel. Come join the conversation as Johanna focuses on sharing impactful personal narratives of loss. Her platform provides a safe space for individuals to express themselves, find comfort, and build connections as they navigate their grief journey. So now, please welcome the host of Give Me Hope,
Good day,
Johanna
everyone,
Vendel.
and welcome to Give Me Hope with Johanna on Bold Red Television. If you are missing our show today, you can watch us on any major platform that you can think of. Today, I actually don't have a script, and I just want to talk about my uncle, who has actually passed away yesterday. I want to send my condolences to my family in South Africa. May you all be strong, and I am thinking of you all. And he was a good man. If I can ever say who the kindest person is that I knew, then I would say it was him. He had the most beautiful heart that one can think of. And yes, Uncle Neville. And he was married to my aunt for many, many years. Then she passed away, and he married this amazing woman, Lavena, that was a wife to him for 3 years now. And I just want to send my condolences to you and your family, all my cousins and my nieces, and everyone that is involved in our family. I want to just send my condolences to you all. My heart goes out to you all, and I am definitely thinking about you all. Today we have a very interesting guest in studio, William A. Stevens. And we're going to start the show off to play one of his videos that he sent us in. So this is our introduction to William. And yes, stay tuned.
Every day, 22 veterans and their loved ones lose their lives to the battle within, a fight invisible but deadly. For those who face the horrors of war and the isolation of coming home, this book is more than words. It's a lifeline, a tool to navigate the darkest moments. Author William A. Stevens Jr. opens Pandora's box, exposing the harsh truth of trauma, healing, and redemption. This is also a father's apology, a heartfelt letter to his daughter, a two-time world champion, for the moments lost while trapped in his own pain. Stevens is the voice for those who feel voiceless, writing to inspire, to heal, and to give hope that change is possible. Join him on this journey of survival, forgiveness, and finding peace.
Good day, William.
Hello,
Welcome
hello.
to the show.
Thank you for having me on your show, you and your staff.
You are very welcome. If you can be so kind to introduce yourself, Sergeant Williams.
Retired Sergeant First Class William Stevens. I am from Carlisle. So you want me to continue?
Yes. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, introduce yourself. You're first class sergeant, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
I was in the Army for 20 years, field artillery, and then I got out in 2008, and I was married, and I had a newborn, my daughter Isabel. Life after military transition was very rough. Didn't know how to write a resume. Was all drugged up on different types of medications from the VA facility. I had just recently got out of a like an outpatient, inpatient psych unit, wounded warrior transition unit. Some of us who came back were not allowed to be around our families for a year. They thought that we would miss the battle. So take it out on our families. So I got out on Halloween 2008, October 31st. Came home. My wife was a psych nurse who treated me like a patient in front of my daughter. I did not know who my daughter was for the first 3 years. It was all about arguing and calling people names and all mind manipulation. Not physical, nothing physical. I didn't drink, I didn't smoke or anything. Basically, I was the breadwinner because she was at home with my daughter, and I was always asleep. So between working at Pepsi, losing that job, and then working for the state of corrections in Pennsylvania, yeah, you don't want to work with murderers and killers and crazy people. You take that home to your family. So the Navy called me, and I worked for the Navy for 16 years as a security specialist. I guess I didn't agree with some policies and procedures, and people didn't agree with me. So after 16 years, they let me go. And they let me go because I had PTSD. So between that time, 2017, I wrote one book called The Mirror, and rebranded last year in May, called the second edition. Then I wrote, actually I talked to text, so I didn't write it. I talked to text, didn't use AI, just used my notes. Had a really good gentleman edit my book who did like write-ups and stuff for the Gettysburg battlefield. So it's been very, very professionally edited. So I would just say that that book dropped last year, The Broken Mirror, Military Transition to Civilian Lifestyle and Beyond is what it's called. That dropped on Halloween last year. And right now, I'm considered an award-winning author for International Impact Book Award, and also nominated for the Eric Hopper Award for the Broken Mirror.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I
So
hear that you are going to Phoenix soon to go and receive your award.
yes, in July 26th.
That's amazing. Can you maybe tell us more about just being in the army and how did you enjoy that life when you were actually in the army and in the military and in this security business?
Coming from a broken, torn home environment, I joined the Army when I was 19 years old. Went to combat after basic training and advanced individual training. I went to Germany. So December 27th, 1990 to May 1991. I was in Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and so-called we provided comfort to the Saudis and all that. But after that, that made me re-enlist for 4 years. So I now have 8 years under my belt, and it's been a ride. I mean, Germany, Fort Carson, Korea, Fort Carson, Korea. Then I went to Fort Lewis. Then I went to Fort Riley. And all those times I did multiple deployments overseas, different countries, Iraq, Saudi, Kuwait, 5 major combat engagements. My last combat tour, I was part of a combat arms assessment team where I helped with 4 other individuals, an Army captain, Army major, and 3 senior sergeant first class, the E7. We went to different places in Iraq and collected classified data, and later they declassified it, so we made like an Army handbook for survival, people to survive on the battlefield. But it was very odd because everything was changing every day on the battlefield because like the enemy was catching on to everything we were doing. So
I can just imagine
basically,
also losing your friends on the battlefield and how that must have affected your life.
um, in Desert Shield, Desert Storm, we didn't really lose anybody. We saw a lot of dead, everything dead, soldiers, animals, you name it, along the road. But when we went to the Highway of Hell, which is Route 1, they call it Route 80, but U.S. Route 1 for the Army or military in going toward Iraq. That's where our American Armed Forces and the British coalition forces bombed the Iraqi Republican Guard and just obliterated the whole highway. Women, children, men, military soldiers. I got to see that. I guess some of our artillery rounds did that, but once you see that, that dawns on you. You don't get those. When you see movies with like people that are evaporated or something, or just eviscerated, it sits in a little different when you see it actually, you know. So
You
then,
actually have to experience all of that yourself.
and then I lost, in different combat environments, people that I knew, or people I was trying to help, or people that were in other companies or platoons were unalived by the enemy. Um, we did a lot of wakes when we were there, so all I know is it's the military. You know, you lose people,
Yeah.
you gain friends, you lose friends, and my motto is "took a boy and made a man."
Yep.
I don't think I'd be
That's
here.
what
I don't think
mommy
I'd
does.
be. I don't. Yeah, I don't think I'd be here today if I didn't join the military.
Yeah. Well, William, it sounds like you have had a rough life, in the beginning. So, if you can tell us about your family a little bit and how you grew up, your mom, dad, and did you have any siblings?
Uh, so I grew up in a broken home. My father was very abusive. Um, he was very manipulating and very abusive. He used to hit me with a leather belt, but I would feel the buckle. So
My
um,
dad was exactly the same. I think it's that era also. We used to get hidings with a belt.
yeah, but I used to get hit with the buckle. So
Oh,
he was so drug and alcoholic. He was an alcoholic. So my dad was an alcoholic, and he used to hit my mom with frying pans,
oh,
throw them
I'm
at my
so
mom.
sorry.
So and then take it out on my sister. So there's my dad, my mom, and me. I'm the youngest, and then my sister. She was the oldest. So and then my mother passed away age 62 in 2014. Um, I left my wife and daughter in 2014 because I was going to unalive myself because I was in a 10-year non-intimate marriage. And with my mom dying in front of my daughter, I have a daughter, Isabel. She was 8 when she passed away
She's so
in front.
beautiful,
My,
your
my daughter was
daughter.
8 years old when her grandmother, Granny Sue, died. And
Wow.
I went and lived with my dad, forgot everything that he had done to me in the past, and lived with him until 2017. And then my dad, uh, was my wife still. We were separated, and my daughter was doing some kind of pageant. She was doing pageants before cheer, and had to go take care of the dogs. And this was one of them back here behind me. And we had another Chihuahua, so I went and took care of them. And I told my dad to call me if anything happened, and he didn't call me. And when I went back the next morning, he had had a stroke and fell off the couch. And then I had to put him in a nursing home, and eventually he passed away.
Oh.
And that was it for my family. So, and then
So your mom passed away
recently,
first, and then your
yeah,
dad passed away.
my mom was 62, my dad was 84, and then recently my sister passed 3 weeks ago, who was 61.
I am
So,
so sorry to hear about that.
but I have my daughter, who is the last to carry. I mean, I can have children, but I'm gonna be 56 next week, so I'm not having no more kids. My daughter is the torchbearer. My daughter is the
Oh,
torchbearer. So
oh, Mama, look at that. That is so cute. That's just one of the sweetest pictures. Uh, so, how did your dad pass away? Did he pass away from a heart attack, or what was wrong with him?
so they said he died from a heart attack, but I found out that he died of high blood pressure. The facility wasn't giving my dad his medicine, so I was gonna try to do something, but I had a lot going on right then and there, so there was a lot going on. So I had to move all my parents' stuff out of their apartment, sell stuff. No one helped me. I did everything, and I had to take time away from my government job, which they were not allowing me to. So I would take my work computer home and do stuff during the day, take a break, move stuff, sell stuff. So I stayed in my dad's apartment until like a month, until I moved into another apartment because I wasn't going back. I wasn't going back to my family because we were already separated. So and then finalized 2019 the divorce. So, but kind of a broken bond between me and my kid because I never got to see my kid until like Christmas Eve for 4 hours. That was it. You
Oh,
know.
that's so
So
sad.
now
Um,
she's 18. So I get to see her whenever. That's why I'm here in Florida to make sure that she graduates and gets going on the path that she needs to be on. So
that's amazing. And let's just get back to your mother. What did your mom pass away from?
I think my mom died of the will to live. Um,
Oh,
when we went to visit, my mom was obese, very obese. And when I took my daughter to the facility to see my mom had a full goatee, like a gray goatee, and her eyes were up in her head. And my daughter Isabel asked me what was going on with Grammy Sue, and I said I think Grammy Sue is asleep. And 2 hours later, when I took my daughter home, the facility called me and said your mom passed away, and I had a few choice words for them because I already knew that she had passed, and yeah, so
I'm so sorry. And your sister recently passed. I'm very sorry about that. I think you said 3 weeks ago.
about 4 weeks ago, yeah. So I did not know. I was told by her ex-husband and well, I guess the children's stepmom. She reached out to me and said, "Hey, we've been trying to get a hold of you. We know you're out on the road. We have some bad news for you." And your sister, she, Tiffany, her Tiffany, I believe, there's three. There's Jonathan, Tiffany, and Zach. So Jonathan's the oldest. Tiffany is the middle. Found her mom dead in the kitchen. So
Oh,
yeah. So basically, my sister and her daughter were squatters at the grandmother's nursing facility, but the grandmother was in a rehab center, and my sister had open sores on her legs, and people came from other places to ask her for help to get help, and she denied it. And she always wore long pants to hide everything, and I did not know this. And I believe the stepmother told me that coroner said she died of internal organ shutdown. Because like if you have open sores and you don't treat them, like the infection will go through your body and shut your body down.
Yes.
So
It's almost like diabetes. It doesn't want to heal, and it starts to just eat up your body in a way. It doesn't heal.
yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh,
So,
that's so sad. That
but
is so sad.
I did not, I did not get along with my sister. She didn't go to my dad's funeral, and neither did her oldest son. So that kind of like parted us, and hadn't talked to them for years. Even the grandchildren. I mean, the children of my sister, but my nieces and nephews. But I've always tried to reach out. Nobody wanted to talk to me. But I wrote the obituary. Um, I volunteered to write the obituary, and then I gave some money to the GoFundMe, and I paid for the urns for the children to have. So,
That's
but I
amazing.
wanted to say, Dean, her husband, and Trish, they paid for the cremation. Like nobody was going to do anything for my sister. So I
Wow.
think if I was on better terms with my sister, I probably would have did that. But
Yeah.
I got to survive out here on the road. So
But what I have also picked up from you, just from talking to you before, to get to know you a little bit before you came on my show, I also pick up that you are a very, very good-hearted person. Now you live in your RV and you go to different places to help people. Can you tell us a little more about that?
So I travel with no direction. So like here, I'm going to network. It's all about networking. So if you network with certain people, people know who you are. I give out my bookmarks, my lapel pins that I pay for with my own money. I'm not a nonprofit. I live off my disability and my retirement. So most of my books that I give out, I bought and give them out. So I'm kind of like a veteran advocate for mental health PTSD because I'm not a subject matter expert, not a doctor, but I will say that I've lived it. I've lived it terribly. Got out of Walter Reed, was on 10 different bottles of pills, probably about 20 pills a day, and now I'm down to 2 bottles, which is fluoxetine, Prozac, that's what it's called, and high blood pressure medicine. But I'm beating my high blood pressure, and I just beat diabetes. So I got diabetes when I was 43 because of if you have a lot of stress in your life and a lot of drama, you eat all kinds of different stuff. So now I'm out on the road eating healthy. So I try to push that on to other people. I meet veterans that aren't getting disability, so I kind of help coach, teach, and mentor them, crawl, walk, run, help them through that process. I'm just like a mentor, a motivator. I don't do a lot of motivation speaking, but I do on my morning mental health message every morning. Um, my mental health message for people, and it's also on YouTube.
See,
1821 Productions.
and that is what we are all about. And maybe that is why you and I have connected on this type of level, because personally, me and I and my show is all about giving people hope, and it's about that mental health state that we were in for many years. Even me, after losing my entire family of 6 members, direct family members, I have also been broken into pieces and was depressed and stressed. And what you said earlier about medication and all of that, I was also on medication for quite a few years because I have like really been in a very depressed mode. You think you're coming out of something and then someone else die. And eventually, like you say, you eat and drink and do things that you shouldn't do and pick up all that weight. You become maybe pre-diabetic or diabetic, and then realize that I have to do something about it if I want to live a good life. And me as well.
Mm-hmm.
I have also completely, I'm off of my depression. medication and all of that type of like my metformin for pre-diabetic and all of that. And just from writing books and getting everything out of my system, my depression has gone down so much. And this is when we then and you can say this is how we inspire people stories. So for now we're going to speak a little bit about his books and his production. He's got 1821 production, and he's the voice of the voiceless. So can you tell me a little bit about that 1821 production of yours?
Everybody asks where it came from.
Yes. So where does it come from?
So if you Google 1821, you'll see that a lot of stuff happened during that era. But I was a DJ in Colorado Springs as a young sergeant, and we had a show with no title. So I said, hey, why don't we just call it 1821 Productions? And the next thing you know, we got like 3,000 people coming to our show. So that's where it came from. And one of my buddies took a picture of me like standing on a dock, and it's in the book. It says 1821, but it doesn't say production. But now, it is now 1821 Productions, Voice of the Voiceless, because it is official trademark
I think
with the
we've also
shield.
got a nice badge of your 1821. Let's put it on the. And he's got an amazing story. So for now we're going to speak a little bit about his books and his production. He's got 1821 production, and he's the voice of the voiceless. So can you tell me a little bit about that 1821 production of yours?
Everybody asks where it came from.
Yes. So where does it come from?
So if you Google 1821, you'll see that a lot of stuff happened during that era. But I was a DJ in Colorado Springs as a young sergeant, and we had a show with no title. So I said, hey, why don't we just call it 1821 Productions? And the next thing you know, we got like 3,000 people coming to our show. So that's where it came from. And one of my buddies took a picture of me like standing on a dock, and it's in the book. It says 1821, but it doesn't say production. But now, it is now 1821 Productions, Voice of the Voiceless, because it is official trademark
I think
with the
we've also
shield.
got a nice badge of your 1821. Let's put it on the screen there for us, Dan. If you've got some pictures there for us, and then also your books, if you
So
can get those
yeah,
pictures for us as well, Dan. You can continue
1821
speaking.
Productions. Yeah, 1821 Productions is the platform that both books sit on for mental health. So you and I know authors should build their credibility instead of trying to sell books. We build that platform like you're doing and like I do with my podcast, Crawl, Walk, Run. So on my 1821 production platform, you have The Mirror, The Broken Mirror, Crawl, Walk, Run, Storytime with Steve-O, The Blacklist, and there's one more. Oh yeah, the Crawl, Walk, Run leadership page. So all those groups so I have a Facebook page, William Stevens, and then I have a sub page because you can't just create another page. You have to create a sub page, which is 1821 Productions, where I do my mental health message. So I created a shield, and that is like a protector of veterans. So, but also, when my first book, The Mirror, came out, it was only for veterans. And then when I rebranded, I learned everybody has trauma. So when I was at Walter Reed, it wasn't about combat trauma. People have sexual trauma. We're now finding out people have political trauma, which is blowing my mind on that one. But everybody has trauma, and eventually, if you don't have trauma, I'd say past, present, and future children coming into this world are born with trauma because of alcoholism or drug addiction. And if you don't have trauma, you're eventually going to have it. So, and I'm trying to help people live another day as an inspirational person on the road doing what I'm doing. So, but
Yes.
the mirror is therapeutic poetry,
So the mirror is your first book.
2018, established 2018. Yep. So the
Can you
cover of my
tell us
book.
what inspired you to write the mirror and a little bit about what the mirror is all about, so that if our listeners want to go on your links afterwards in the description, they can have an idea of your book? What
So
inspired you
I
to write that?
so when I was going through high school, I had a friend. His name was Jay Diamond. That's what we're going to call him. He did a lot of poetry, and we used to go to places, and he would just like stand up in the middle of a restaurant and just start serenading or saying poetry to people. And I'm like, okay. And then him and I traveled across the United States for me to go, um, different places. Uh, and all I know is he inspired me to write poetry. So from age 19 all the way up to, I want to say, probably to the day I dropped the mirror. So it's about relationships, poetry, um, death and dying. Uh, Nothing. I'm the character. So um, I had dated a girl in Colorado for 8 years, 4 years, and then I went to Korea. 4 years, I went to Korea. Thank God I went to Korea my last year. I found out that she had many skeletons. So all I'm going to say is I was at a point in my life where I wanted to do some damage to somebody. So she was the first person to get the copy of the book. And when it dropped, I had told a bunch of people that it was kind of like for veterans. And then I thought about it for a while. Um, a lot of the stories would rotate around that relationship that we had, but there was no name. It's just who is this strange individual? Lady X is what I said, but eventually people figured it out. But now that I rebranded in 2024 May, um, it's now based therapeutic poetry to help people. So um, that audiobook will be dropping hopefully on Halloween this year. I'm just
Good.
getting ready to
Good.
sign a new contract. Second book is a mental tool for your mental toolbox. So, and it's also this apology, heartfelt apology to my daughter because of the way I treated her and her mom. So I wanted to open Pandora's box. So the broken mirror is opening everything that I've been through since the mirror. Okay. And I wanted to show my daughter that her dad is in a better place. And now that I'm getting, nominated and being an award-winning author, her dad knows that I'm not just out there trying to make money because any money that edit comes in, and it's not a lot. I've only made since the mirror came out $400 last year, and that money is in a private account for when I'm not here no more. So I have not used that money. It's sitting in that private account for her. Really, I don't care. I'm trying to go away from selling my softbacks on Amazon and go to books.buy and sell them for much cheaper on books.buy because you and I both know Amazon takes a lot for royalties and printing. But my audiobook, the Audible ACX, will drop within the next 2 days. I just got a message yesterday. Tomorrow is the 10th day. They give you 10 days for the review, and then they put your book on live. But every other streaming platform, Apple, Spotify, audiobooks.com, Barnes and Noble, you can find the audiobook. And I don't make the price. The streaming platforms make the price, is what I'm told by Audible. So, and it goes by page count. You have certain pages. Most likely, most of my books for my audio is between $8 and $15 wherever you go. So, but I've just talked to Bookside Press, who did the audio piece for The Broken Mirror. We are getting ready to do the contract, which I've already given money toward. But because the narrator who I'm using from the Broken Mirror, going to narrate the mirror, has asked for more money. They go up in price, I guess. They don't go down in price. So I
It is
have to
so
give out
expensive,
another
and people
additional
don't realize.
$2,000. Yeah.
Yes,
Audiobooks are expensive to
yeah,
make.
people don't realize how expensive it is to write a book, and when we don't get all those sales back in, it's a lot of money that we put into those books. Eventually, it takes years to get back that money that you've invested in your books, but eventually, it is your story that is out there. And I hope many people see this and would be buying your book and your story and to listen to everything because it is very inspirational. Um,
So,
and
so I created 1821productions.com. That is
yes,
the whole story, nothing but the truth. So the books, the audiobooks, the 1821 production mission statement, what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. It's on 1821 Productions. We've been live for 4 weeks and we have almost 5,000 views, which is really great. And I don't care about people buying my book. It's the message that's on that page. And then there's a QR code on that page where if you click it, it'll take you to my morning message in the morning. So, and then I have a great marketing team. They're not selling the books for me, but it doesn't matter. I mean, they're marketing different areas of the book. So, but I want to say anyone that's transitioning from military to civilian, pick up The Broken Mirror. It talks about transition, resume writing, death and dying, calling out the government because of what they do to people behind the scenes. Both books had to be approved by the Pentagon. So what you're reading is not a
wow,
bunch of fluff because if the Pentagon didn't want it to be put out to people, then they would basically tell me that, no, you're not going to put this information out. And most but not least, it talks about long-term medication use for veterans. So I'm getting ready to collab with Grunt Style Foundation just to do a podcast. They put out apparel, but the Grunt Style logo is the foundation, and they do a lot of stuff behind the scenes for veteran overdose, not overdosing, but I want to say, what's it called? When you are given medicine and you overprescribing. So,
during
what is
particularly
that?
dangerous weather situations,
can you hear that?
specially built
Yes,
receivers
what
can
is
be
that?
automatically activated by
A
the
warning.
signal to warn
I'll
of
get
the
up.
impending hazard.
It comes on. I don't know why it just
The
came on
signal
during
and
the television
receiver's
broadcast,
performance are
but
conducted around noon
it's
each
the
Wednesday.
coastal
If
line
there is a
weather
threat of severe
support
weather, the
on my
test will be
Oh,
RV
postponed to the
in
next
case
available
there's a
good
storm.
weather day.
So they call in the high
Reception of this
tide.
broadcast
I'll be
and
right back.
especially
okay.
the one tune will vary at any given location.
William's got such an amazing story, and
Oh my God.
it's interesting to listen to all these stories. Uh, it's just amazing. And You know, to be an author and to be a podcast presenter or a host, it takes a lot of courage to put yourself out there. I know how it feels because I have been putting myself out here as well. And welcome back. And I see William is back after putting off that noise. He is a traveler, actually living in his RV. I think it is the life of the retired person because that's definitely what I want to do one day when I'm retired as well. My husband and I have already said the day when we retire, and that's approximately 10 years from now, if it's God's will, we will also travel America and go and visit all these different states. And you just have such an amazing life. You know, eventually money. Well, let's get back to your story quickly, William. I know that people call you Steve-O. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Steve-O.
Last name,
Where does Steve-O
last name,
come from?
last name is
Stevens.
Stevens.
Okay.
Okay. So most of my military peers that I work with, they got tired of calling me Bill or Stevens. They would call me, hey, Steve-O, or they would call me on the phone and say, Steve-O, I have this situation. Can you help me? So, long story short, I created Storytime with Steve-O. It sounds very catchy, and with the finalist for Author of the Year. And I found like some old creepy guy, reading a book. I'm the old creepy, decrepit guy. So I didn't want to just have a picture of me because I'm a very dark, like gothic type person. That's a very gothic photo. So don't have a lot of people want story
I
time with
would
Steve
never.
O. So you didn't think I
So
was
do
you
you?
didn't think I was very dark?
No, I would not say that. I think you've changed maybe from um, who you were before, you know, because you said that you were this person who did not treat your wife the right way, and that's why eventually you needed to leave her and go into treatment and get to be a better person. And I can see that from what you've told me before and what you are now. People do change, you know. You do have your dark past, but I think you have transformed yourself into an inspiration because now I cannot see that you are not noticed because for me, I think you are very well noticed.
I I'm calling it my final reset. We have different resets in our life. So with my daughter now turning 18 and growing to be an adult, I'm out on the road doing what I wanted to do. Like I've never been to Key West. I'm in the Key West for my birthday. So I turned 56 on Saturday, and yeah, so it's a dream for me. I never thought I could see myself doing this, but I think it's a payback to people who I treated wrong in the military, to help veterans. So yeah,
Yes. And the voice of the voiceless, where did that come from? Because that is your production 1821, the voice of the voiceless. What's the story behind that?
a lot of people don't speak. A lot of people can't speak. A lot of people are so drugged up, they need someone to be the voice of the voiceless. So now, like I was telling you earlier, Voice of the Voiceless is a trademark from a wrestler called CM Punk. And then 1821 Productions is also a trademark. So I said, I'll put them both together. 1821 Production, Voice of the Voiceless, and now I'm official.
And then
Trademark,
basically you speak for the people who cannot speak for themselves.
yes, correct.
That is very amazing. You are just an amazing person, from what I see and where you're going. And I think you are still going to be blessed quite a lot, William, because it's only starting. Let me tell you, you are only starting from what I can see. And I want to just give you my blessing. And I hope that everything that you put your mind and heart to, that God will bless you in these things, because you are doing it for the good of it and not for the money. And all the money that comes in from your books, you put away for your daughter because you felt that you were not there for her when she was little. And now look at you. You are making this difference in your life. You're making this difference in her life. And Isabel is a proud daughter, I think, to see that her dad has changed for the good. And I would like to end off this program today by just blessing you for everything that you put your heart and mind to. And may God bless you. An amazing story. And if we can just try to be a little bit more positive every single day of our lives, we can live longer, because positivity makes us believe in ourselves as well. Plus, it makes us just want to live our lives to the fullest. Because if you have a positive attitude, you can change the world. But if you are broken and you don't want to get better and don't want to express your feelings, then eventually we're going to just go sit in a corner and we're going to just fade away. So shine your light bright, I would say, and make a change and make a difference in someone else's life. And yeah, we will be back next week, and we are looking forward to speaking to another author. And it's strange that I attract authors, maybe because I am an author and I tell my story to the world and try to have a better life. But this is the life. This is the life. Well, thank you for watching Give Me Hope with Johanna today, and we will be back next week.
This has been Give Me Hope with your host, Johanna Vendel. Join Johanna each week and harness the transformative power of storytelling